Hello and welcome to Life as a Remote Online Notary. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule today to join me as I discuss what life has been like for me as a remote online notary. My name is Deshauna Scott, and I am the owner of Lady Scott Enterprises here in Richmond, Virginia. And I've been a notary signing agent and a mobile notary since 2012. I've also been a remote online notary since 2016. And prior to 2016, I was not an official business. I was doing the work, but I had not given the business a name. And so in February 2016, I decided to make Lady Scott Enterprises my official business. And so at the bottom of your screen, you'll see popping up different services that I offer my clients. So for more information on the services that I offer or for full descriptions, please visit my website at ladyscottenterprises.com. And so to give you some information on my background is actually in criminal justice. And so in 2008, I began my criminal justice career as a corrections officer or jail officer. And the difference is that I worked in a jail versus a prison. So I started that career in 2008. And I thoroughly enjoyed that career, so much so that I decided to become a deputy sheriff in 2010. And I ended that career in 2018, and I ended with the title of a master deputy sheriff. So I loved my career, very passionate about my career, so much so that I decided to turn in the uniform and the badge to kind of take my career for a different turn. And so in 2018, I decided to become a criminal justice instructor. And that is so very meaningful to me because I am now able to take young individuals, high school students who are dedicated and passionate about pursuing a career in criminal justice and teaching them what I know in hopes that it will help continue to inspire them and help them do great things in the world of criminal justice. And so I've been a criminal justice instructor since 2018. I'm also pursuing my master's in education and curriculum and instruction. My bachelor's of science degree is in criminal justice with a concentration in crime scene investigation. And I also have an associate's degree in administration of justice. So as you can see, I'm very passionate about all things criminal justice. And so that has actually helped me in my notary career. And I've been pursuing both since 2012 in the notary signing agent business. At the same time, I was in law enforcement. And it has definitely made a difference for me. In May of 2019, I became an alumni of the FBI Citizens Academy, the Richmond Division. So I'm very happy that I was afforded that opportunity to do so. And then I also take part in some volunteer opportunities here in my community. So the disclaimer is that this presentation or any information herein is not being made on behalf of any other company other than Lady Scott Enterprises. This workshop and this content are for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal advice. And so what's new? So you must be living under a rock to not know that COVID-19 has definitely changed our lives. It's changed the way we do business, especially as notary publics. I think that I speak for myself and probably 99% of notaries to say that our business has definitely increased because of COVID-19, and that is an amazing thing. And it has definitely increased if you were already set up as a remote online notary and you had things ready to go, you were already practicing as a remote online notary. So those are the folks who really saw the uptick in business. And for that, I'm thankful that I was already ahead of that curve and that I was ready to take the bull by the horns and move along with COVID-19. And so speaking in terms of remote online notarizations, I wanted to make the difference between an e-notary versus a remote online notary, because there is a difference, but in the notary world, sometimes we use the two interchangeably, but there is a difference between the two. And so for an electronic notarization, the signer meets the notary in person, right? The notary verifies the signer's ID right there at the table or whatever location you may be using. And the document is signed and notarized electronically, usually via a laptop. So a good example of that would be a Pavaso hybrid closing, all right? And so then a remote notarization, a remote online notarization is where the signer and the notary meet on a secure platform via audio video recorded session, right? And then the signer's identity is verified electronically. And then the document is signed and notarized electronically as well. And so a good example of that would be folks that utilize the Notarize or the Notary Cam platforms. And so, as mentioned before, I've been a remote online notary since 2016. I've been a notarized independent contractor this entire time. And so, I wanted to share with you guys what my work schedule has looked like for the past year and a half, 2 years, just to kind of give you an idea of what my work hours look like. Of course, when you work for a company or if you're even doing remote online notarizations independently, is a 24-hour, 365-day operation. And you'll see that displayed here in my schedule because I do tend to work the overnight shift. So just to kind of give you an idea of the number of calls that I've taken since 2016, you can see that the call volume has definitely increased. And just in 2019, I took 899 calls. And then in 2020, this number reflects from January 2020 to May of 2020, and I'm already at 752 calls. So you can imagine what the call volume will look like at the end of 2020. And yes, you can thank COVID-19 for that. And so one might wonder what credentials are required to become a remote online notary. So you definitely want to have a traditional notary commission, and then you may apply for your electronic notary public commission. So you cannot have an electronic notary public commission without getting the notary commission. So they go hand in hand and you have to have both. All right, you also want to get your NNA certification, your background check, and your errors and omissions insurance. And yes, you can certainly get those items from other vendors. Other vendors are available. However, NNA is accepted by 99.99% of companies. So that is why I recommend using their service. You can also you get a digital certificate, or is going to be required for the most part for remote online notarization. And so you can also get that through IdenTrust or NNA as well. And your digital seal, National Notary Association now offers that as well. What equipment do I need? So you're definitely going to need a desktop or laptop computer, a webcam. A headset is optional. It is strictly a personal preference, or if you're working for a company, they may have a policy in place as to whether or not they prefer you to wear a headset or not. I generally tend not to want to wear a headset. That's just my personal preference. High-speed internet for sure. You definitely want to have the best internet, the fastest speeds possible, because you don't want your sessions to be cut off because of poor internet connection on your end. And also, the internet browser that you use is important. Google Chrome and Safari are going to be your two best options for browsers that are supported by most platforms across the board. You're also going to need office space that's free from noise and distraction, and that's also presents a plain and professional background. You're going to need desk with plenty of space. You're going to need a comfortable desk chair, understanding that if you're going to be doing remote online notarizations, especially for a company, you could be sitting for hours at a time, and so you're going to need a comfortable chair. And your lighting is everything. So you definitely want to make sure that your workspace is well lit. And you also want to have writing utensils and paper. You may need to remember something that took place during the call that you may have a question about. So you want to have those things readily available. You don't want to be, fumbling and looking for those things while you're on the call. What skill sets should I have? So all notaries need to know notary law and best practices for your state. You also want to know your company's policies and procedures if you're working for a company. And also, if you're not working for a company, you still want to know the policies and procedures for whatever platform that you're using. You want to make sure that you're in compliance with that as well. You also want to know the different types of notarizations. You want to know the differences between acknowledgments and jurats and copy certifications and oaths and verifications of facts. So all of those things are important to know the difference. If you don't know the difference, or if you have a hard time remembering, that might be one of the things that you want to keep in your workspace. And you also want to have a positive and open mindset, because you're going to be dealing with all different types of people who are not technologically savvy, people who find that they're not comfortable with doing notarizations online. They're used to the traditional notary aspect of things. So you're going to have to be positive and have an open mindset and understand that people are not as knowledgeable as you are about these processes. And you definitely want to work on those customer service skills, because you want that customer to have the best experience possible, because we want them to be repeat customers, whether they're your customers independently or whether you're working for a company. So you want them to come back, or you want them to refer. So those customer service skills, you're going to have to dig deep and make sure that you're always giving the customers the best experience. You also want to work on your communication skills. And I will tell you that this is something that I've had to work on continuously. In the communication skills department, I'm always trying to brush up on skills, trying to, figure out what ways can I engage in conversations with my customers, what ways can I connect with them. So those communication skills are going to be important. Also, you want to, think about on the other side of things, what things should I not talk about with my customers? Also, your organization skills are going to be important. When you're doing remote online notarizations, there's a lot of information for you to remember. There's things that must be included in your notarial statement. And keep in mind, you're doing the work while you're engaging with the customer all at the same time. So organization will help you keep everything in line so that you don't forget to do the best or perform the best notarization possible, but also provide that great customer service experience. So have that organization in place, have that flow so that you're sure to do a great job every time. Also, you're going to need to know technology. You need to know how iPhones and Androids work. You need to know how laptops or computers work. You need to know those things because your customer may have a technology issue and you're going to have to help them navigate through those issues. So staying abreast of the latest technology and how things work is always a plus when you're doing remote online notarization. And also those computer skills, technology and computer skills go hand in hand, so they're going to be very important. Also, your attention to detail and your fraud consciousness. They're going to be the things that help you protect your notary commission. So you're definitely going to want to be attentive to detail and also understanding when something doesn't look right, it's probably not right. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And you're well within your right to question those things. And also you want to be flexible. Again, understanding that this concept is new to a lot of people. Although I've been a remote online notary since 2016, there's a lot of people that still don't know that remote online notarization is a thing. So you're going to have to be flexible and patient with those people as they navigate the systems. And again, that patience is going to be important. And so what platform should you use? And so basically, I know that some states dictate what platforms notaries can use, or if you can use one or multiple platforms. And so those are things you're definitely going to have to look at as it pertains to your state. But there's several out there: DocuSign, DocVerify, Notarize, NotaryCamp, Papasso, SignX or SignIX, I've heard some people call it. So just be mindful of what your notary law is for your state, and what you're allowed to do, or think about what is it that you're trying to do. So if you're wanting to use multiple platforms, making sure that it's okay to do so. But there are many platforms out there, and I think they're all great platforms to use. And here are some points for the notary to consider. The questions would be, how much are you willing to invest to get started? And so this is one of the businesses where you do have to spend money to make money, because you do have to get your certifications, you do have to get your background, you do have to get your notary skills. And so all of those things cost money. And so how much are you willing to invest to get started? Obviously, the more you invest, the better off you'll be. And so you have to invest to be a traditional notary, but you also have to make a separate investment to be a remote online notary, because it's going to cost you to use those platforms if you're going to be performing remote online notarizations independently. How much volume do you expect? And so that's where you weigh the cost, right? Does your monthly overhead dictate, how much volume you need to be bringing in? Or is it more beneficial for you to be working for a company? You don't have to worry about generating your own volume, right? How will you generate customers? So for those independent notaries, how will you generate those customers? What's going to be your marketing strategy? And how will you make it easy for the customer? I will tell you, the customer feedback that I've always received that's been the most valuable is that this is so easy. If you make it easy for the customer, you won't have any issue. The key to success here is ease for the customer. Also, are you going to do general notary work, loan signings, or both? And understanding that, all platforms don't work for all things. So you have to figure out what platforms are you able to do loan signings on, because all platforms are not compatible for loan signings. What fees will you charge? Are you going to put most of the costs of using that platform on the customer, or do you plan on eating some of that cost? What fees will you charge your customer? How will your customers provide their documents to you? And how will they then make their way onto the platform that you're going to be using? How will your customer pay? How are they going to pay you? Are they going to pay you before the notarization, or are they going to pay you after the notarization? And, keeping in mind that most platforms, once the notarization is complete, the document gets emailed directly to the customer. So you want to keep that in mind when you're considering how your customers are going to pay, because you want to make sure that you get paid for the services that you provide. And also, how will your customers connect with you? Are they able to connect with a smartphone, with a tablet, or do they have to be on a computer? So those are some things for you to consider when it comes to your customer satisfaction, the ease of use for the customer. You want to make sure that if a customer needs to pick up a cell phone to use a platform to connect with the notary, that they're able to do so, because everyone has a cell phone, but not everyone has a computer to use in order to connect with the notary. And so if you're not flexible enough to have those things available, they may find another notary that is. Also, what are your policies and procedures? For instance, if you have to issue a refund to a customer, what is your policy for that? Is it published? Is the customer made aware of this before they've decided to use your services? How will you detect or prevent fraud? What are your practices for that? How long will the audio visual recordings be? All right, is it going to record the whole transaction, or is it going to record only part of the transaction? So those are some of the important questions you definitely want to consider when you're choosing which platform to use. Will you keep a notary journal, or are you totally reliant upon the platform that you're going to be using to maintain that notary journal for you? Also, what does your state law require you to do in reference to your notary journal? And what documents can be legally notarized online in your state? So some states do have restrictions on the types of documents that can be notarized online. So you want to make sure that you consult with your state law. Also, what types of identifications are allowed for your platform? So is a customer able to use a driver's license? Are they able to use passports? So you want to make sure that you consider that, because some customers may not have a driver's license, but they have a passport, or vice versa. So you want to make sure that whatever platform you decide to use is going to be what's most conducive for that customer. Are expired identifications acceptable? Because we know that with COVID-19, states have allowed persons to have expired IDs for a certain amount of time until the states are able to open back up and people are able to go into their DMVs and get their IDs renewed. So are expired IDs going to be acceptable for the platform that you use? Is the platform going to be flexible enough to allow you to use that expired identification? And what about paper renewals? Are you going to be able to accept a driver's license that's been renewed, but that person's state has given them a paper copy instead of a hard copy with a barcode? Are there COVID-19 exceptions? Like I mentioned before, some people have expired identifications and their states have made it okay, and they've extended those identifications until their states have or are able to open back up. And again, what devices can customers use to connect with you? Are they going to be able to use a smartphone, a Chromebook, a tablet? What devices are they going to be able to use? And so you certainly want to choose a platform that's very flexible on the type of device that a customer can use. And does the platform provider have 24/7 customer support? And I follow different groups on social media, and I see that that is a major concern. So you certainly want to check out what the customer support is like if you're going to use a particular platform. Because if you're having an issue and you're paying your monthly fees to this company, you certainly want to receive the support that you feel you need when you're dealing with your customers. Some legal considerations. How will you retrieve video footage if you need it? If you needed it to go testify in a court of law, how will you retrieve your video footage? How much E&O insurance do you have? And should you increase your coverage, right? How much do you need to perform remote online notarizations? How much insurance is going to make you secure in the event that something happens and you need to use your E&O insurance? So you want to make sure that you're certainly covered. Does your E&O insurance cover you in a lawsuit regarding remote online notarization? Do you feel like that coverage is enough to cover you, or do you feel like you need an additional policy? You also want to keep in mind the common documents that you may see coming through on your platform. And so some common documents that I've seen over the years, over and over and over again, are the USPS application for delivery of mail through an agent. So we all know, as notary signing agents and mobile notaries that a lot of us are operating out of our homes. And so we don't want our home address associated with our business. And so we may go and get a mailbox or an address through Earth Class Mail or Anytime Mailbox or any of those mail agents. So you have to fill out a PS 1583 form in order to make that happen. So that is a document that you may want to familiarize yourself with. And then also the U.S. Department of State issuance of a U.S. passport to a minor. So that is also a document that you'll see, especially during travel season, summertime, spring break, Christmas break, all of those high travel seasons where people are most likely to travel outside of the country. So I will certainly post those links in the chat section so you guys can click on those links and explore those documents on your own. And so guys, remote online notarization is here. And practices in RON change every single day, especially since COVID-19 has happened. I've seen, states change laws like on the fly. And so we have to be vigilant. We have to stay abreast and keep up with the changes so that we're able to stay in the game, because everyone that comes to you for notarization, for their notarial needs, are expecting you to be up to date with what's going on. They're expecting you to be a competent and knowledgeable notary. And so the best way to do that is to stay vigilant in your craft and to always remain up to date with what's going on. Also, you should connect with other notaries in the field, connect with like-minded individuals, connect with people who are going where you want to go, or who've been where you want to go, or who are still continuing to strive to get there, and they can move along with you. So definitely connect with other like-minded remote online notaries who are in the field, who are doing the work. Connect with your state government. So again, understanding what your state laws require of you as a remote online notary and as a traditional notary. And also continuing your education. So actually attending this virtual conference is a great tool because it's through the National Notary Association. Also being a member of the National Notary Association is a great way to keep your education in the notary field current. And again, understanding those common documents, talking to other notaries and finding out, hey, what documents are you seeing on a regular basis? And finding out what type of notarization does that document require? Am I overlooking something? Am I filling in a certain area correctly? So again, networking with those like-minded individuals will help also protect your notary commission. And also company policy and procedure changes. If you're working with the company, you certainly want to, again, stay vigilant in company policy to make sure that you're following protocol. And, there's a saying that says there's nothing to it but to do it. So go ahead, take the first step. If permitted in your state, go ahead and become an independent contractor with the company or begin doing remote online notarizations on your own. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. It is a great way to earn extra money. It is a great way to be a benefit and a service to your community members because they need you, especially during times where people are not able to get out and do the things they need to do. They're not able to handle their business as they normally would. And what better way to be an asset to your community and to those in need than to be a remote online notary? If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. I certainly appreciate any and all feedback. I'm certainly not above taking feedback from others, as I am still learning and still growing and still educating each and every day along with each of you. And so I appreciate any of your feedback. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions that you're not sure of a concept, or if you want me to clarify something that was presented here today, I'm certainly happy to do so. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to what I have to contribute to this great fields of work that we call notary, signing agent, mobile notary, remote online notary, all things notary. So thank you again for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day.